I think we'll go ahead and start. We'll do as we've done the last one with introductions. My name is Terry Harmon. I am here serving as chief negotiator on behalf of the board, and I'll turn it over to the rest of our team.
Carter Morrison, assistant superintendent for finance in the district.
Julie Sessa, assistant superintendent of HR for the district.
Matt Thibault, Martin County High School, MCEA.
Gary Simmons, chief negotiator for MCEA, FEA.
Karen Messiniti, President, Martin County Education Association.
Lonnie Barch, MCEA.
Ariane Deneen, MCEA.
Susan Rayo, MCEA.
Pat Holtz, MCEA.
Jennifer Radcliffe, Jensen Beach Elementary for the district.
Jeff Raymond, Indiantown Middle School for the district.
Lori Vogel, principal, Jensen Beach High School for the district.
Tyson Villock, director of professional standards for the district.
Maurice Bonner, director of human resources for the district.
And Terry, I have Jonathan Tuttle, my regional specialist from FEA via phone.
On the phone. Okay, just to kind of catch back up where we were when we last met about a week ago, I think. We had talked that the board was reviewing and considering the proposal that you had made at the last session. And one of the, I don't want to say hindrances, but one of the pieces that we needed to consider included within that was how your proposal would play out in light of the requirements under 101222 that there be adjustments made to the minimum base salaries of employees. Myself and Carter have spent a significant amount of time trying to work through that proposal and think that going into today, we've got a counter proposal that Carter will show you in just a moment. But really kind of following up on a couple of the things that I said at the last session, the board is desirous of moving past 21-22 so we can focus on 22-23 issues. I think the best way to do that, and our hope, is that we can focus on the wages to get the wages piece addressed for 21-22. I think what you'll find today from the information that Carter's are going to propose to you is a reflection that the school board does recognize the importance of its teachers and those that go to work every day with the students. It's, I think, also going to show a reflection that they truly are motivated to try to resolve this. For historical purposes, I think we're at bargaining number 22 today, and I think the last time substantively that I was with you in the room was we were working on a $1.4 million budget. And I think actually, if I recall, I said 1.4 million is on the table. Let us know how you want to divvy it up. And I think what you'll find from Carter's presentation is we've moved past that in response to your last proposal. So I'll go ahead and let Carter explain it as best he can. You're going to have to probably turn around to look at the screen.
Sure. Thank you so much. Just make sure we can make this a little bit bigger. So, last time as we met, thank you very much, Terry. We talked about the fact that we were working with a $1.4 million budget, and how we came about that was total dollars in the raise pool, as we call it, was $2 million. However, we know that there was a prepayment or overpayment of about 1.6, which brought that down to 1.4 million. So if we were to stay within our budget, we know we have 670 MBUs, teachers, that are annual contract and highly effective, 104 that are annual contract effective, 351 that are on professional services, and 21 professional services highly effective, and 21 that are professional services and effective. So the last time that we met, so basically what would happen is highly effective would get $1,000, effective would get $750, professional services would get $500, and PS ineffective would get $375. Part of what we kind of ran into in the last meeting was that in 10, 12, 22, and I'll turn it over to Terry to kind of talk a little bit about this, is there's a section of statute that talks about if, beginning July 1, 2021, if you're not at 47.5 in your base minimum salary, then whatever you give to your PSC teachers as your the largest increase that you have on your schedule for the PSC teachers, you have to multiply that by 150% and spread that to and increase your base minimum salary. Correct me when I get off the tracks. So based on staying within your budget, within the budget of the 1.4, these would be what the numbers look like. So,
And and I know Carter, you said it, but essentially what the statute requires is whatever the highest adjustment you make to an employee on the PSC grandfathered schedule, whatever that highest adjustment is, until you're to 47,500 for your lowest base salary, you take that highest adjustment and multiply it by 150%, and then that goes to your lowest base salary. The idea is over time, you get that base salary up to the 47,500 minimum.
and that's what Tallahassee has put into the law. Now, step 2. If we go to $1,400, because that drives the percentages that are established in between highly effective and effective, you can see that we would be over by $600,000. That's your raise pool, right? So that would be $2 million. We know that the $600,000 we're going to be working with teachers in order to recoup that. But now, if we went to $1,400, you would now be at your raise pool amount. The penalty, as I call it, or the Section 2 statute amount still applies because your base minimum salary for your effective people, right now it's 45.7, given the application of the TSIA, so you would still not be at 47.5. So the board, and again, I apologize a little because we left the executive session late last night. So the board is desirous of going to 47.5 in the base minimum salary for teachers in Martin County School District. So based on that, the board has authorized us to go to $2,400 for highly effective annual contract. This now gets you, based on the 45.7 that we currently have in the schedule, to a base minimum of 45.7.
47.5.
Sorry. 47.5, I'm sorry. So our base minimum salary will be now 47.5, with the salary increases going into effect at AC effect, highly effective, 2,400, AC effective 1,800, PSC 1,200, PSC effective 900. So you'll see that we are roughly $2 million over budget, but we know that the 600,000, as we said, we know we're going to be working with teachers to get that back. So the message today is that we're almost $3 million in outlay. Your base minimum salary will be going to 47.5 for 21-22, beginning into 22-23, which I believe the union had expressed that was one of your objectives coming into this year's negotiations. What I do not have for you today is a schedule. We just paid out the TSIA money. The checks went out, the ACH or direct deposit went out last night, so now we're starting to move people and place them. So I don't have like a TEG schedule to give you today because last time we just wrapped this up. So in effect, this is the board's offer. We know we're going to spend $1 million here, and to bring up the base minimum to 47.5 by applying that $1,800 to the schedule at annual contract effective. Terry?
No, I think you summarized it well, and I think as I mentioned when I did my brief opening, we've been spending several sessions at the $1.4 million mark, and this has jumped us up significantly. Yeah, in that the purpose of showing you that first chart with the lower raises and staying within the $1.4 million budget was just to show you, had we taken the budget that we've been bargaining with, plug that into the formula to account for the 150%, you can see they're very minimal raises. The board, we've all been at board meetings and hear the frustration and the concerns. So when we went into this, it was the hope and the expectation that we could try to get that 47.5 addressed, while at the same time rewarding those who are not on the bottom end of the salary schedule. It just caused us to have to go significantly over budget from our last proposals. The hope, again, there are some lingering issues we still have out there. I know we've had some language and some different proposals. Our hope was that we could at least try to, and I know you need to digest this and probably go talk about it, but if we could at least try to have an understanding on those parameters, maybe those other issues we can start fresh with 22-23 and work those into the 22-23 sessions. So again, we can make that, what Carter just did, available to you if you need it, but
I'm going to email them.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Can I ask a question?
I have some questions that I would like to get answered before we discuss too. So this would be retroactive to the previous year, right? So
Yes, we're negotiating 21-22, so
Right.
there would be retro.
So-
We also did the TSIA retro as well.
So then, how are teachers going? Will teachers see this as a lump sum then?
Yes, retro is typically processed as a lump sum payment. And then what we would do is, once that schedule, the salary schedule is created correctly, then we would slot people in correctly. And instead of having all these add-ons that caused this issue this year, you'll have one number that you know is your salary combined with performance pay, which statute actually specifically says that the salary adjustment is considered, should go into your base pay.
Is the district's intention then to, in order to recoup the overpayment from last year, would it be to deduct that overpayment amount from this lump sum amount? Is that?
So I think that a couple of sessions, what we have done so far, if I'm stating this correctly, when we sent the letters out, we said, don't do anything yet. That we would be in touch based on the fact that we did not want to engage in direct dealing with the MBUs. I think it would be cleaner, but again, we have accommodations that we can make if necessary.
My question, Carter, was just that everybody right now who is below 47.5 will be brought to 47.5?
That is what the board is desirous of doing, yes.
Okay, because there's some professional service that will not hit 47.5 on a $1,200.
So
So
I'm
then
not sure
would
of that. I
that
looked
make
at
the adjustment?
I looked at the data, and most of your PSCs are above 47.5, if not all. So we're going to check and double check into that, but that's what we're seeing.
Oh.
I think there's some people in the room who might disagree.
Okay.
If there's not, then that'll need to be discussed.
We'll have to address that. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to address it. But it is the board's desire that the base minimum salary move to 47.5.
Okay.
Carter, I'm sorry, one last question, because it does help to see like a salary schedule, at
Right.
least in my mind. Is that something that could be made available in the not too distant future?
So just to kind of give you the backroom type of activities right now, the TSIA schedule is TSIA funds were very important to be dispersed. So it was all hands on deck to get that out the door. That has been done. Right now, we're working on Survey 5 for the DOE that's due today. Because we took resources off the survey to get the TSIA done, they want to get the state out of our hair, so they want to get Survey 5 done. I've talked with a couple people, and we're trying to get the new schedule at least early next week, if possible, as possible, early as possible. But early next week would be early to middle of next week is what we're targeting, because people are going to be moving within the schedule, and we have to adjust the schedule.
I understand, I appreciate that, thank you.
And I would imagine that there needs to be some adjustments made with the letters that were sent out. I know that there were some conflicts as to teachers owing $1,450, but maybe they only owed $900. So I would imagine all of that needs to be
I can explain that. What
fixed.
happened was, as you may recall, last year the board awarded longevity to some teachers. It was $490, and some of the in our calculations that cell on the spreadsheet got missed. So there are some of them that we're adjusting, and so in this round we'll make sure we capture that in terms of making the spreadsheets and the letters correct. So you want to copy us, or you want to? Let me just send this file real quick.
And Carter, do you have this on paper as a handout?
No, I only have the spreadsheet. I'm emailing Gary right now,
Okay.
but I'm trying to get this working.
I have a picture.
While he's getting that ready too, if you remember at the last session with the reading endorsement, we agreed on it. We just didn't get it signed. We've got it.
Correct.
We'll get that before we go today.
And the MOU that I presented about the leapfrogging?
I don't have that with me today. Did we?
Is it something that we can roll into 22, 23? We would like to get the wages wrapped up if possible.
As long as it's adjusted.
It would affect the wages for this, so, no, it has to be.
That works.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, leapfrog right there. You know what I mean?
Because that's going to cause more leapfrog.
All right, it's on its way.
Thank you so much.
All right, let me know if you don't get it, when you get it.
We'll discuss this more during the break. The piece that you just mentioned, we'll discuss that during the break.
What I gathered, teacher or two, that we just follow the intent of the regular language, just adjust it and move on.
We will
You got it? Okay, great.
We'll talk about that.
And that copy of John's
Separate.
Awesome.
I got it. I remember you explained that last session when we met, but we've been full charge on
I understand.
wages. But I know this affects some of your folks, so not trying to not put value and importance to it.
Okay?
Yep.
You're okay caucusing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're back on.
All right. So back on the record, I had an opportunity to have discussions with my team as well as some of our bargaining unit members who committed to join us for this bargaining session today. I just want to let you know what we came up with. First and foremost, I came here today with wanting to communicate to everyone at the table that we're the only ones left in 21-22 in the whole state. And the whole state is looking at Martin County's bargaining to see where we go from here. Pleasantly surprised that the board would like to finally get the state out of our bargaining and get to 47.5. I was just in Okeechobee yesterday planning our bargaining kickoff with that bargaining team and going over the proposals from last year, and they're at 46.3. They finished at 46.3 for the end of 21-23. And now we're going to be finishing 21-23 with the possibility of starting at 47.5. So looking at the schedule, looking at what was sent to us, we like the direction that the district is going with respect to the moving off of the 1.4. We tried to figure out every way mathematically to use that 1.4 and come up with an agreement that would pass ratification, and it's been very, very difficult. You guys took on that challenge for the last 2 weeks and came up with what we're looking at now. So what we can tell you is that we agree we can agree in principle, like with G, like the direction that you're going in with G, the 2,400 for highly effective, the 1,800 to 1,200 and 900. But ethically, we can't tentatively agree until we see all of the spreadsheet and the salary schedule. And I know that that's not going to come as a surprise revelation to anyone. And the sooner that we can get that information, the sooner that we can put this to bed and begin focusing on next school year. So Terry, you know that I'm in arbitration next week with one of your colleagues. We've have some dates committed in preparation to the 27th, just to do like the boring stuff, the stipulation of evidence, all of that good stuff. But Jonathan Tuttle was on the phone with us and participated in Zoom during our caucus, and I've got a commitment to him. Even the dates that I can't be here next week, I have a commitment from him to do so. So as soon as we get those paperwork, get the documents, the salary schedule, we'll do a deep dive, and then we'll bring any outline questions that we may have after that deep dive and be ready to try to put this to bed. So just to summarize, let the school board know we like the direction that this proposal has taken. We recognize the commitment. They recognize the commitment from both sides here to get the best deal possible. And all we need is just the salary schedule.
To see how that looks in play, in practice, once it's all incorporated in it.
Right.
What we would like to see first, though, is the corrected schedule with the overpayment letters. So where we are actually, not where we could be with the money that's put in there, right? So we want to see a corrected version of what our current contract should have looked like. And then the second version would show the figures that you proposed.
Yeah.
So I emailed to you, Gary, the schedule, what it would look like after the application of the TSIA with the base minimum at 45.7. Obviously, we've gone ahead and distributed those funds. So we would like, if you could TA off on that or maintain the position that, okay, our prior TA substitute, whatever, we just need to formalize that with making sure, because the state, I need to send that to the state as part of my reporting. And then what we will do, as requested, is say, okay, here's where you are and the corrections that need to be made, and we will send that through as early as possible. Again, we're doing Survey 5, and we're down to hands. You may remember Jim, he's retired now, so we are down to hands in pair hands in IT, but we have gotten the commitment of making it a priority because we want to wrap up 21-22 as we discussed, and we'll send that schedule through to you so you can review it.
Do you think like the 27th?
I'm sorry?
Does the 26th or the 27th sound reasonable to have the corrected schedule?
Oh, let me look at my calendar.
I think that's Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
Tuesday the 26th.
Yeah.
leadership
Yeah.
for 2 days.
Oh, yeah, the leadership for 2 days, but they can work on it. What if I get back to you? I know, I'm sorry?
Can you please
Oh, I'm
use the
sorry.
microphone so everyone can hear you too?
We talked this morning, Survey 5 is due today, so I think that once they get that done, we'll start working on it. I wouldn't want to commit to a specific date, but I can tell you as early as possible. It could be as early as Monday, it could be late as probably Wednesday. But
Okay.
we just have to try to
Good enough.
get everybody on board and start running that piece of it again.
We do want it accurate, so, yeah, I don't want to rush.
Thank you. So we do appreciate that the board has turned around. I really think they realized that with all of the restrictions with 10, 12, 22, you know, that they had to come up, and we kind of knew that going into it. If you want to get that reading endorsement signed, I don't want to forget about it, so we can take care of that, whether after we close it out or now.
Can I add, I just wanted to say one quick thing. Being an economics teacher, you know, so one of the things that you know, we share with our students in a capitalist economy is that we prioritize things that are important to us based on how we spend our money. And I think that you know, at the beginning of the session, you had reflected on the fact that the district does care about teachers, and that you were coming to the table with a proposal that reflects that. And in my opinion, I feel like, you know, you guys have done that with this, and when you go back to the board and let them know that, you know, Matt Theobald says that he's appreciative, and so I just wanted to get that on the record. So thank you for indulging me.
Appreciate that, and again, I want to say again, moving that last session, I know that was kind of a unexpected twist, but it really helped us to have that additional time, and that was our intent, was not to just come back and inch along, was to try to come back to really try to get this thing where it needs to go. And I do hope that message from the board's perspective too is making its way to you. I know it's been a long, tedious process. Hopefully the processes aren't as long and tedious going forward. But what I understood is, and I know you need things for us to go further, but kind of tentatively, what we presented on the screen appears good, but we need to see how the salary schedules look when you take those figures, and that may have some discussion attached to it too. Mm-hmm. So we'll try to do that on our end and bring that to the next session. In terms of when the next session's scheduled, I hate to do it on the fly. I can try to figure it out if take a short break, or we can just exchange after the fact, whatever's good for you. It sounds like you're hoping to do it next week though, if at all possible. So I could try to find out if we just want to take a 5-minute break, we can run our calendars.
It's just, we have new teacher orientation on
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Don't have to be after 3:30 or 4:30.
And we'll probably need time to be able to meet with the board to have them
Right.
look at the proposed salary schedule too, so we'll need to check on the ability.
Right.
August 2nd, I know, is our next school board meeting. So whether they're available prior to that solely for an executive session, we'll just have to figure that out. So we might need a little bit.
Yeah, as long as we have the documents that we need, because it's, you know, it's going to take us a little while to just look it over anyway, and I don't want to say, let's do the second when we're not ready, especially that Gary's going to be in arbitration, and we have new teacher orientation, and we have our rep training, so I don't want to be too optimistic
Yep.
with August 2nd. Being that we're...
So does it make
Much
sense to get together just in terms of scheduling issues only to try to identify a date after today? Or do you want to try to do it now? We'll just need to take a break to go make some calls and see what we can do time frame wise.
We can do it through.
Just like last meeting though, no intention here, I don't want to kick the can down the road. I mean,
if you want to meet and then give us your dates, and then we can figure it out
Okay.
on our own. How about that?
So have us do our meeting with our executives committee and then follow up with you to get a date set?
Yeah, or if you want to get together right now and come up with, and
Sure.
throw some dates at us.
Yep.
And then we can figure it.
Karen, what's your commitment for NEO? Because,
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah,
because
you don't have all 3 days.
from our perspective, we don't need every single bargaining member here if it means postponing a meeting. Just
Right.
key bargaining members for our team. So,
Neo, on the 27th is
Right.
the morning.
are you committed to being,
Service days?
right, are you committed to being there all day for those 3 days?
No, I'm pretty much, the 29th is more.
That's Friday.
But there's also a hearing on the 27th.
But if we don't get a spreadsheet until Wednesday, we're not going to be ready for the
Yeah.
NEO days.
Right. Well, we're scheduled, so for example, I know that on Friday, the 29th, I'll be tied up.
Right.
Might the 28th work for you?
No, that we have rep training.
Okay.
We can do it after.
We can meet in the in the later afternoon.
Like a school day time, like a 4
Like
o'clock.
2 or 3
Yeah.
o'clock.
Okay.
What
That's
are
right,
you
he's got
talking
the
about
Thursday.
for the 28th?
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get an idea
because if we-
what dates are on the table or not.
Because if we get, let's just say, we don't get it on the 25th, and we get it on the 27th, there's no point in us meeting on the 28th.
I think we'd have to look to the next week as the
Yeah, I
earliest
think we'd have
try
to look to the
meet.
next week.
I don't think so. I think we need to get some spreadsheets, but
No good?
For August 3rd and
Okay.
August, what about August 1st?
3rd
Is
and
that,
18th are up.
that's not, is that the teacher optional
That's
teacher work
a
day?
flex day.
I-
So it would still have to be after, like, the 3 o'clock time because we're going to be using that flex day. I'm going to be in my, well, you don't need me. I just ask too many questions.
So
Yeah,
8-1
you
is
could- I'm saying
possible?
it could be after 3 o'clock,
Yeah,
the
Yes,
August
we'd have-
1st.
yeah.
We need to make sure, though, we can get an executive session. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So 8-1's a possibility. 8-2 is a school board meeting day. About 8-3.
I'm up 8:30 with my son in college.
So 8-3 is no good? Okay.
No, not if you want
Can't be
him.
there for that.
Not if you want
Yeah,
Carter.
Unless you don't want him here,
No,
then we don't do
need
anything.
Carter. 8-4?
Yeah.
8-4 is a possibility? We're looking at like 4 o'clock, 3:34, 4 o'clock?
I'm gonna
Don't work?
check with-
Eight five.
well, I mean, doesn't it also depend on when we get the spreadsheet?
Yes.
So if we can get the spreadsheet on Monday, then we might be able to come up with
But
an
we have
RFP.
to,
They still have to.
executive session.
So why don't we put tentative 8-1, 8-4? Let's hold those dates for,
that's a good, Tyson makes a good point. The purpose of the exec session really would just to be, we need to have a schedule looked at. If that's all we're talking about, that's a much quicker executive session.
2 seconds.
Yes, so we're just fine. We'll figure it out. We're working on it. Gary, did you
8-1
say
might be able to
8-4 is a
happen.
no-no for you?
It would be nice if 8-1 could happen.
I think you want your, they want this on.
But
They want the
if that's the date that works for everyone else, then I can arrange to have Jonathan in my place.
Check it. What about 8-5? Is that also a no for you?
I'm open on 8-5.
I'm good on 8:05 too.
I'm fine with 8-5.
We're talking like
8:05
3
is a
o'clock.
Friday, and it would be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think it's over Thursday.
Why 4?
Working on my calendar.
That-
8-5's a Friday?
Yeah,
Well,
Middle school, sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
hold on.
I mean,
8:05 is a
I could
Friday.
be here at, like, I
And,
could
no,
be
it's-
quarter of 4 to
Yeah,
be
but
here at 4.
8-5 is not a student day, so
That's what I mean.
there's a little flexibility there, correct, Mary?
Administrator,
Ugh,
yes.
You've never set up an elementary classroom.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
and-
saying for Ariane getting out at 4.
Oh,
not
for Ariana getting
till
out of 4. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could be worked out.
It w- Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on when we get the spreadsheet, because
You need time. I
We
get it.
we need a little bit of time, but we don't
Understand.
need a whole week and a
Right.
half or 10 days.
Yeah, 8-1 is better.
And
than
8:1 is better than 8:05.
So just,
So-
okay.
What'd you find out?
Is 8-5 the teacher workday, or is it a PD day?
It's that half and half. It's high school
It's
orientation.
open house.
High school
It's all-
orientation.
Yeah, and I think you might even be, is that one of those open house days or something?
It's middle school and high school
I will say
orientation.
No,
And it's-
that's the
It's gotta be
night. Friday is the PD day. Friday the 5th.
Friday's the PD day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
We could just take a brief break.
To go off the record.
Okay.
Go make some calls. Yeah, we can go off the record. Unless y'all want to sit here on. Go ahead. Okay, so we're back. We'll do scheduling first. For purposes of the week of the 1st, the only day that we can do is August 1st.
Okay.
And if it's possible to do the morning, that would be tremendously helpful.
Okay, because when we were talking, we were saying, well, if we don't get it back, that might be a good time for us to do a bargaining meeting
If
to delve it. So,
I think we're trying to schedule our meeting for Thursday to get the proposed, and just to be clear too, our hope is we want to share that with you in advance of the 1st.
That's what my goal is.
And to make sure that obviously all bargaining takes place in the sun, the schedule is just going to take the numbers that were on the screen that we all saw here and plug those numbers onto the schedule. It's not going to have anything new or different that.
right. But you're
Okay.
going to give us that corrected version first.
Corrected version of,
So right now, we have a salary schedule,
right?
and there are people who are not on it because they got letters saying that their salary was wrong.
So they're not slotted correctly, is what you're saying?
Correct, so we
Right.
want the correct slotting,
Right, okay.
and then what you're saying with all the added. That's,
Okay, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So and then I'll start with the TSIA schedule, and then we move from the TSIA schedule
to
this.
that, perfect.
Sounds good. I
Perfect.
know.
So, I mean, if we had to meet on a Saturday or a Sunday, could we do that?
Well,
I mean, if, I don't,
to schedule with Jonathan, like, I'm out, like, on the 20, I'm out from the 29th to the 2nd. I have
Oh.
my nephew's graduation.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm in Chicago from the 29th to
Okay.
to the 2nd. So I can have Jonathan cover for it, so you guys can have discretion when you want to schedule your bargain.
okay. So the first is the only date they have. All right,
Yes.
so we're gonna have to make it tentative for that and see what we can do on our side.
Since you're on the 1st for the morning.
Yeah, no, not the morning.
That's good.
Your
The morning of the 1st.
You can't do the after 3 o'clock?
Mm-mm.
teachers are all working.
None of you can do after in the morning of the 1st. It's going to be a problem.
I think we don't have to get permission from our.
What's the?
It's a work day.
Is it
it's a teacher work day.
Or is it the flex day?
No, it's the flex day.
Okay, so it is a flex day. And I don't think this is gonna be a problem. If we look at all of these documents and it seems pretty smooth, we're not.
Consistent with what you saw up
Yeah,
there.
it's not gonna be a 2-hour thing. Here's my thing. All of these people have been here for 22 sessions.
I know.
They need to be at the party. You know what I'm saying? So, Tyson, according to the contract, when you take your flex day, it has to be taken in whole or in half. As long as there's flexibility with that, we should be able to get these people here.
What are you asking for when you say flexibility in that?
Flexibility with the flex day,
Approval for us to be here instead of at our school site.
and then go back to the school site.
Right.
For the rest of the time.
Right. So I don't have the authority to grant that, but I fully understand the request, and I think it's a valid request, and I will try to get an answer for you ASAP on that.
So then why don't we tentatively try the 1st?
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, we'll have to pick another day.
Right.
And then
And they can clock in here, they can still clock in. It's just, I don't want them to say, oh, no, you have to say it.
I can only guess what Dr. Malay's response is going to be, and I think we should plan on
Okay.
meeting
Okay.
the morning of the 1st.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second.
What?
I just gotta look at something. Okay. I have something for the 25th,
Okay.
which is a Monday. I just want to make sure.
And then
Write
another
it down.
issue, the reading endorsement, but then on the MOU on the revision to the prior collective bargaining agreement language. We discussed that during our session and still had some outgoing questions, I think at least internally, about whether the way it was applied was or was not correctly done. So we're still trying to figure out, is it not better to work directly with the employee impacted to make sure if the person is on the right schedule or is not on the right schedule, and if there needs to be clarification on that. But
Just fix it. Yeah,
just
I mean, it's
admittedly,
not
we
massive
just,
amounts.
and I think it's 2 people,
One or two.
that are impacted, can we just try to work with that person directly? And if it's clear that this is an issue about language application, then revisit that. But we were hoping to really get the 21-22 wage issue so we can move on.
I really
if
did
that's
a
okay.
thorough analysis of this, probably 3 times.
Okay. And I'm not trusting you on that.
Yeah, very thorough. And it's in everyone's hands. And it's not like we're talking thousands of dollars. I think it's 800.
And we were looking at it in there to see if maybe it could be resolved that way, if it's really only impacting. But
Yeah, I certainly think it can, because she may have just fallen through the cracks. You know, she must have just fallen through the cracks, and we're just trying to.
so let us try to figure that out.
Okay.
And then if it does not reach resolution and we have to go that route, we can include that within
Right.
turning around to 22, if all goes well, 22, 23 issues right away.
Okay.
Just thank you for your patience. I can say that. I've only been at 2 or 3 of these with you, not 22 or 23 of these, and I will not be with you Monday, August 1st. So hopefully the next time I see you, we're talking 22, 23 stuff. But thank you all for your patience and for your membership's patience. But I think that's all we've got, right?
So, I'm sorry, I'm taking notes in Lonnie's place, and I
Yes.
just want to make sure
Please.
that what you were saying is you need to talk to those 1 or 2 teachers one-on-one.
I think that was our hope was we were talking about these issues are these matters that we could just talk to the employee to see if the employee has a concern and we evaluate that and it appears the employee's right, that doesn't have to be addressed through a bargaining.
Correct.
If the employee is saying something and we don't agree, and it's because of a interpretation of the language and it needs to be changed in order to address the issue, then that's more appropriate for bargaining.
This is just regarding the leapfrog, and I think we're going to be fine with that.
Yep.
I think it's going to be easy peasy. MOU.
Do you want to TA the other MOU on camera?
Yeah, on the reading endorsement.
The reading endorsement proposal on camera. Not a camera proposal.
So I think we probably got to scribble through just the date.
That's too funny.
You know what's sad is I missed it. What the humor? What did I miss?
Oh, he said you want to sign the MOU on camera.
Oh, don't go there.
But we had a cameras MOU that we said no. So
I got it.
he's trying to slide it in there, you know.
I meant during the meeting.
Yes.
That's so funny.
I knew where you were going with this.
I picked up.
I got in at 4 a.m., so my mind is a few seconds behind the rest of you.
I went to bed at 5 a.m.
Mine's a couple of days. I was not up at 4 a.m., but I'm still 2 seconds behind.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're good.
I slept from 10 to 12:30, and then was up and went back to bed at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And when I got up at 12:30, I thought it
Thank
was
you,
like
Carter.
7 o'clock. I felt like I had a great sleep.
I think that's it.
Thanks for remembering that.
Same stuff.
Do we have a copy machine in the building? Just give them a copy right away.
We do not.
I can walk over with you, and I'd rather do that. One of the things I really stress moving forward is that we have a copy machine at our disposal, because there are a lot of these MOUs that we sign off on, and then we
A
move
week
on,
later.
we forget about it, and then I can't find the MOUs. I mean, they're somewhere, but.
I agree.
So.
Or
you
two
know,
copies that both of you sign.
It's just nicer if we're in the room and we agree to just print it and do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You could also do e-signatures.
Tyson and Lindsay have a wish list of differences for next year's negotiations. That's on the list.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Tyson and Lindsay, for advocating for that
Well,
on
it's,
behalf of the teams.
in some of these
Okay.
bargaining norms, that's one of the things that's listed, that there will be a portable
Printer?
copy machine.
Gotcha. Well, I've always said since the beginning, 20-second session's a charm. So,
Speed negotiations. I like
Like
those.
speed dating.
I saw a thing on speed golf. They can do 18 holes in like, I think the record time is like 29 minutes or something.
Not if you're playing with me. It's more like 29 hours.
Are we officially adjourned?
We are adjourned.
Okay.
I want to go home posture right there.